Okay, at this time, we'll call to order the June 22nd, 2026 regular council meeting to order. Please rise if you can for the pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Make a motion to adopt tonight's agenda.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Item 4A, Sheriff's.
Greetings, Mayor, members of council. I am Scott Wicklund. I'm a sergeant with the Patrol Division. In May, North County Sheriff's Office responded to a total of 489 calls for service, responded to 6 assaults, 6 theft reports, and 1 damage to property call. Deputies made a total of 22 arrests for miscellaneous offenses, made 103 traffic stops, which resulted in 18 traffic citations. Some notable calls our deputies handled. 900 block 189th, which would be Nexus, on May 1st. Assault, deputies responded to client assaulting 2 staff members. As per protocol there, she was arrested. On May 2nd, at Highway 65 and 181st Avenue Northeast, we had a DWI. A deputy responded to a vehicle that hit a post. When he arrived, the driver had already exited the vehicle, was walking away. This is witnessed by a bystander. The deputy located the male who was impaired and said he wasn't driving. After investigated, it was determined that he was driving. Male did not speak English, so translation was provided. All tests were not conducted successfully. He was arrested at a .094 BAC. May 2nd, Nexus again, the 189th Avenue, assault. A client was attempting to run away and assaulted staff in the process. Located and arrested. On May 6th, 3500 block of 228th Avenue Northeast, domestic assault. Deputies responded to a juvenile female assaulting an adult male in the home. Deputies arrived and the suspect fled into the woods. She was eventually located and arrested. On May 12th, at 300 block of Elm Drive in the beach area, domestic assault. Deputies responded to a male who was attempting to get into a home after breaking into the victim's vehicle. He also assaulted the homeowner. The victim reported the male was leaving in the vehicle. Deputies located the vehicle, leaving the neighborhood, and attempted to stop it. The male would not get out and was on his phone with 911 saying he was going to light them up, whatever that means. A high-risk stop was conducted and stop sticks were placed under his tires. He tried to flee, but his tires were deflated. The male exited the vehicle and was walking towards deputies, but then decided he did not want to cooperate. So he ran back to the vehicles. That is when the deputies grabbed him and placed him on the ground. The victim and suspect used to be former roommates, so it was not random, and he was arrested. On May 12th, Nexus again, domestic assault. Deputies responded to a client assaulting another client who was his girlfriend. After the investigation, the boyfriend was arrested for domestic assault. And on May 16th, on Viking Boulevard and 192nd Avenue, DWI, a caller reported a driver all over the road. The deputy located the vehicle and observed poor driving conduct and stopped it. The deputy smelled alcohol, and when he was asked how much alcohol he consumed, he stated a little. Field sobriety tests were not successful. He was arrested. His BAC was a .32, which is 4 times legal limit, so a little more than just a little, and he was arrested for that. And on May 22nd, 2800 block, 185th, probation requested a deputy go to the location because a juvenile offender was in possession of drugs. The deputy located the drugs. During the investigation, the juvenile admitted they were his, and he engaged in an extensive fight with the deputies. After that, he was arrested. That is for May. Thank you for the opportunity to provide a quick update on last month's activities. Any questions for me?
I'm curious, when you respond to a call at Nexus, what is about the average time that you guys are spent?
Oh, that is, most of the calls we have there are at night, or used to be at night until recently. And it all depends on what kind of calls we have there. Sometimes we have calls that we have 12 juveniles absconded into the woods. And that requires a large response. We might have 5 or 6 cars. We'll go into the woods and we'll just slowly go find them in the woods as they're running away. So that could be an hour and a half, 2 hours. Sometimes we'll go there and there'll be one juvenile running. We'll go scoop them up, bring them back in, and it's a 5-minute call. It is so random, but I would say the average response time we're there, it's gotta be at least a half hour per call. We're there and we're there.
Thank you. Any other questions? Any questions from the public?
I'm friendly.
Thank you, sir. 4B, Fire Chief.
Mayor, members of the council, thanks for having me up here. For the past month, we did a total of 65 calls. The most of them were medical, 9 difficulty breathing, 9 falls, 6 unconscious, and 5 seizures. We did have 3 structure fires. One was in East Bethel on the west side, the west edge, and 2 of them were mutual aid requests. One of the other thing that we've seen an uptick in is illegal burns. Just want to point it out so that it's set on the record. There's no burning garbage. If you're going to have a wreck fire, it's got to be clean, dry wood. Can't be painted wood, green treated wood, any of that kind of stuff. It's got to be clean, dry wood. Some of these illegal burns have resulted in investigations and stuff like that to figure out what's really going on. So they take a little bit of time, and it involves us getting the sheriff involved. Tonight on the consent agenda is potential for 2 new hires. One is contingent on that person moving into the area, but that's supposed to happen at the end of the month. We want to get everything, all our ducks in a row, so that when they do, we can get them into the academy, which is set to start the middle of the month, next month. We received the Centerpoint grant, and we'll be moving forward with that. We're adding some electric tools to our engines, some portable scene lights, and then sawzalls. And with that, we're also evaluating some other new equipment. One thing is a battery-operated fan that would operate off the same platform, battery platform, so we would be able to have a little bit more mobility with it and not rely on a gas engine that has all the upkeep of a gas engine. And then last month I told you that we were working to get an AFG grant submitted. Today at 4 o'clock was the cutoff for that. It was not submitted because there were a lot of problems with the sites. According to our grant writer, they were not able to get everything submitted. However, we are ready with 2 ready-to-go projects with this grant writer. Everything is set. They have all of our information. I believe the AFGs are set to open sometime in September or October, and will be some of the first that are submitted. So we'll be able to streamline that process and get it straight through. With that, any questions?
Who do you use for grant writing?
It's Gratchel Services is who we're using. I've had great success with them in the past, and they have a great success rate.
And what is their fee? Do they charge a lot, or
It's
a portion of the grant, or how does that work?
the fee is a one-time fee of $850 for them to write the grant.
Per grant?
Per grant. And then if they get awarded the grant, they write a lot of their grant writing fees into the grant. All AFG grants have a 5% match, so it depends on the scope of the project that we're submitting. But if the grant is, one of the reasons that I like working with this firm is if the grant's not successful, they write it again for free until it's successful or until we tell them to stop writing it.
Got it.
So it's a one-time fee either until it's successful or the city's no longer interested in pursuing it.
Okay, I have a question on your medical calls. So do ambulances, when an ambulance goes, is that considered the fire department, or an ambulance goes and a medical fire truck goes to a call, a personal injury medical call like that?
We have first responders that go on just about every call. The ambulance typically arrives somewhere around the time that we do. So Alina is our
It
ambulance
just
service.
seems like it's duplicative, like it's redundant, having an ambulance show up and a fire. I know every car accident I've ever been in, a fire department never came, only an ambulance came. So I just feel like it's redundant having fire go when an ambulance goes too. And maybe I'm wrong, but
No, when they're dispatched, it triggers the police, fire, and ambulance all at once.
And some of the calls.
but that's in East Bethel, because in
that's-
Coon Rapids, my car accidents,
No, it's in Coon Rapids too. They're part of a county
I've
system.
never had a fire department come, just the ambulance came.
No, that makes so. but
You
they're
know, I mean,
triggered
I
that
guess
way.
I could see if the car was on fire or something, but I'm
Well-
just trying to think that we're wasting money sending all these different vehicles for a car accident,
Well,
so.
a car accident is a completely, so I referenced medicals. A car accident, one of the things that we do is we block the scene so that nobody else can get hit. That's one of the big services that we're doing, is securing that scene so that we're providing a safe area for the paramedics and the police officers to work, and we also help where we're needed.
Okay,
And that doesn't matter if it's on Highway 65 or if it's on 221st out in the rural parts. We're still shutting down areas so that cars can get around us safely, so that we are providing a safe, secure space for our people to work and for our counterparts to work and provide the service for the citizens.
yeah, so you have ambulance, you have fire, you have police doing a lot of overlap, is what my
We're-
mind is saying, and I could very well be wrong, but.
We are all doing different jobs. So the police are
Okay.
investigating the accident, what caused it, if there's any legal grounds for tickets, and I'm not gonna speak for the rest of what they do, because that's not my specialty.
Right,
We're taking care of any patients that need to be extricated from their cars. We're doing cleanup of the roadway, getting rid of debris, again, providing a secure area for our people to work in, and the ambulance is tending to the patients. So it might feel like there's some overlap, but there's distinct jobs with each service that responds to those calls.
oh, that's great to know, thank
Yeah.
you.
And my experience with the calls on the medicals with the first responders, they're often there before the ambulance, and sometimes has the patient ready to go on a stretcher for the ambulance by the time the ambulance gets there. So they're, when in a medical emergency, when minutes matter, it's a pretty incredible service.
Any other questions? No. None being heard. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
There's nobody for public forum, so consent agenda.
Make a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented.
Second,
There's a motion and a second. I wanted to pull F.
Okay.
So, a motion and a second for the approve the consent agenda as amended. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? None heard. Okay, I'm pulling F just for the simple fact it'd be nice if we list the street that we're doing in these projects. I mean, I know Nate knows what they are, but we don't know what street it is. When it comes out, you see this contractor's application for payment, it just says the 226th Street Surface Improvement Project. Be nice to have the street on there that we're doing for reference in the future.
Yep. Do you want me to get the street on this one?
Well, it doesn't matter, but in the future for reference,
Okay.
it's nice to have that in there.
I agree,
That's a good point.
used to be on there.
So, with that said, I'll make a motion to approve F.
Second,
Motion and a second, any further discussion? None being heard, all in favor?
Aye.
Approve. Staff report.
Mr. Mayor and Council, got three items I want to address this evening. The first is that we're continuing the process of working through the dangerous dog or the high-profile dangerous dog scenario that we had. I do want to say that the owner of the dogs has been very cooperative and working with us to meet all the requirements of the city's placed on him for keeping these two animals. He's been very easy to work with, and I commend him for doing so. I don't know that everyone would be that happy to work with the city on this topic. But at any rate, we're continuing to work through some of the public data requests on that as well. And then additionally, we're trying to work through some of the community neighbor relation issues that we have that have come up, and there's some indication of progress, at least on one of the properties that is being used as a VRBO scenario. But we'll continue to work with, I think we may work with the attorney here to draft a letter to escalate that a little bit in terms of importance. We're told that the property might be sold. We hear that quite often, you know. But at any rate, we'll take whatever steps we need to here. I know the neighbors are probably copying council on a lot of the disruptions that are happening, so we want to make sure we stay on top of that. Wanted to update the council also in regards to Klondike. We are going to be putting gravel down this year on Klondike. As you know, we treat that with chloride and other chemicals to try and keep the dust down. And part of the conversations that Nate and I have been having are kind of serious discussions about the potential of paving this road. And we can borrow 3 years in advance on our state aid dollars for projects such as this. In this particular scenario, being that there are businesses on this road, there is a possibility of assessing some of the work, and that can be a future discussion as to the policy of assessing and how much to assess. But again, this is a long stretch. I would say there's good and bad to doing it. I think because it's a long stretch, it becomes a raceway. And so if the sheriff was still here, they would they might collect some revenue on that road. But at any rate, it's still, whether it's gravel work that we're doing, grading, or the chloride treatments, or restoring the road with class 5, there is a cost to the city in its current status that would be obviously done away with when it's paved. So more to come on that one. And then the final thing I just want to update the council on is the city is in discussion right now with the school district. As you know, we were looking at acquiring approximately 2-acre parcel for a water treatment plant tower type of concept that had fallen through. And so the discussion right now is for the city to work with the school district on utilizing 2 acres in their southeast quadrant to essentially build the tower and the treatment plant on that ground. And so I know the school has, at the 2 schools there's a problems with pickup and drop off. A lot of backing up of traffic and a lot of issues, so they need to have some adjustments done to their entrances there. And in 27 we're looking at having Polk Street potentially redone. So if we're going to tear up that road, it would be the time to put in a forced main sewer and water, pressurized water line to the schools, and then work with them on trying to fix that entrance and exit so it's a lot safer for folks when they're picking kids up and dropping them off. At any rate, more discussions on that. I know they're very excited about hooking this up. One of the schools has sprinkler systems in it, the other one does not. And so part of their plan is to, with pressurized water, is to put in sprinkler systems in the other school, which would make it a safer a building for the kids obviously, and then also they can access other dollars that the state has for safety related improvements to those type of buildings. So they're working through some of those details to try and determine how to best look at some of these costs. The big cost, of course, is Sack and Whack, and we've calculated about 1.5 million based on their units. About just rough numbers, maybe about $500,000 is for the Met Council SAC, which is fixed and in stone. And the other $1 million would be for sack and whack of city costs. And just as a reminder, those sack and whack fees, what they do is they go into a sewer and water fund, and they're used for the eventual replacement of the system. And so they're very important in terms of the depreciation of that system and making sure the dollars are there to replace it when time comes due for that. But there might be some flexibility the city can have in terms of deferring some of those payments, working with the school district to ultimately pay it, but over time maybe. That might be an option. Again, a discussion that the council can have and to determine if that's something they want to do. But ultimately, the goal here is the schools have septic systems that are in question and water that's not necessarily the best quality, and hooking up to city sewer and water will be a wonderful improvement for them. So more discussion on that with the city. We've had 2 meetings with them. We anticipate having maybe 1 or 2 more, and they'll bring it before their board for authorization and approval. And if that happens, if we can utilize their 2 acres, that saves us from having to acquire 2 acres and the costs associated with that. So that's a good thing. And I think that concludes my report unless there's any questions for me.
I actually have 2 questions. One on that water for the school. Would the city be requiring all the people in the neighboring area to hook up? Would that be mandatory or?
No, so the city has a policy that if city sewer and water goes by commercial entities, they're required to hook up.
Right.
But residential entities are not required to hook up.
Okay.
Now, if that development says, we want to hook up, can the city make this happen? Yeah, I mean, it's running right by, we can facilitate that.
Yeah.
But we would not take the position of saying you must hook up.
Yeah, they might have the same water as a school, I don't know. I have a Klondike question. How often, right now, does that get graded and re-chlorided and re-gravelled and stuff?
Good question. I don't know that I've seen a bill come through on gravel in the last couple of years. But we do try and grade it because of the washboarding, that occurs on that. We have a grader almost exclusively for that road. We have other roads too, but that's a big one. So there's a cost in that, and chloride treatment I think is generally once a year.
Yeah, it's one time.
Yeah, and that's
Once a year.
I think
Yeah,
it's
because
about
I remember it being done, something being done to that
It's
road
about
every year, but I didn't know if it was.
$8,000 I think per application, so it's not cheap, but and quite honestly, to pave this will be in the $1 million plus.
Right.
But that'll be, you'll get 20, 30 years probably out of that before it has to be resurfaced in some form or another. But yeah, it's as cities kind of move through getting rid of the dirt roads into the paved roads, your plowing becomes more, easier to do and safer, and it should be something we continue to try and work towards.
Okay, I look forward to the assessment conversation, but that will be then.
Yeah.
All right, council reports.
I have airport information, and In God We Trust information. The airport, we are working on the Discover Aviation Days for 2027, and we are looking for volunteers to lead out in the vendor trucks, the kids' activities, the parking, probably 15 different jobs. So I'm wondering if that plea can go out in the next newsletter. I will kind of have something that I could send to the city probably by the end of the week. And then there's the seniors information. There is no July dance, thanks to the 4th of July. But we are putting on our annual pancake breakfast, so everybody's invited to that. There will be a bake sale there of all these delicious, yummy home baked goods. and the craft and vendor show. We are looking for flea market and vendors for crafters for that, and I'm the point of contact for that. And now the In God We Trust, I talked to Matt about it, and he was talking about having something like a vinyl thing put up here. And he sent us all a email with the fonts, and do you want to bring that up by any chance? Can you find
You
that?
keep talking, I'll try and find it here.
Okay, and I was thinking the third one, the boldest, biggest letters, and
Okay.
so, and I'm thinking at least a foot high. I don't know what Matt was thinking, but he said doing it in-house is the least costly way, and I'm like, yeah, because I found a guy who could make them out of wood, but that would be a bigger cost, and so I'm like, yeah, let's do it, let's get this done. So when he pulls that up, we can all have a consensus on the font of the fonts that he sent. So, does anybody else have anything else while we're looking?
So here are the three fonts,
Oh.
I'm sorry, 4 fonts, just some ideas of what we can go with. There's thousands of fonts available, obviously.
Yeah,
But,
I like the third one.
I do too. Third one looks really good.
So we can make it any size, or put it any color. I was thinking possibly a silver color to match the interior here, something that would stand out against you have kind of highlights there, bars that are silver. Maybe match that.
Yeah, I'm just wondering if it would be possible to create it and send us like a proof of how it would look up here, and then we can approve or
Well, that's getting
disapprove.
fancy.
Too fancy for us.
We'll see if we can do that, yeah. So,
Yeah,
take
I
a
don't
picture
know.
of it and drop it in
AI
there.
can do it for you guys, I promise.
AI is unbelievable, actually, it's, yeah. Anyways,
All right, Ed,
So everybody agree on the third one?
Yeah.
Do we have a consensus? Okay.
okay.
All right, that's all I got.
We had a Booster Day meeting. Again, Booster Day is coming up next month here, July 18th. Looking for volunteers for that, as always. We also had a Sunrise River Watershed Management Organization meeting where we discussed considering membership with the Lower St. Croix Partnership. That is a partnership that the state gives, I think it's 1.3 million or 2.3 million every 2 years for this. It's a joint powers agreement to disperse. You can get money from them without being a member, but that's only every 2 years that you could apply for that. By being a member, it would be more readily available. With discussion with this, was a potential liability issue was discussed. It's a very small potential liability, but it was agreed to bring this back to the partnership cities of the 4 partnership cities of East Bethel, Linwood, Ham Lake, and Linwood, or Columbus, to bring this information up to them, make them aware, and have any potential feedback. And J.B. Sherban, our administrator, has put together information in email that should have been presented. I don't know if he sent it already. Okay.
I don't believe I've seen it.
Yeah, it will be sent out, and ultimately Hopefully we'll have feedback by sometime in September by all 4 cities. So I just wanted to bring that up, that we'll be seeing that in the future here without getting into the nuts and bolts of the whole discussion.
Can I ask a Booster Days question? Is there going to be a city information table or anything like that with council and city staff
There-
information or anything?
There has been discussion on that, I do believe so, but I don't believe that, or so far there has not been any, like blocks of times that, to sign up for.
Okay, thank you.
So, with that,
I just
So,
want to
yeah.
welcome Mark Berglund, our new city attorney, to our city council meetings, and I look forward to working with you.
Thank you very much. I appreciate being here. I'm happy to be here. Look forward to it too. Appreciate it very much.
Welcome.
I want to thank you for Friday's update. The potential dog stuff, we need to stay on top of that stuff. It's good to know that that dog owner is trying to meet all the conditions that the city imposed. Also good to find out that our data transfer is going well. So we often wonder if people ask what's going on with that. Understand that's going well, so thank you for that.
Agree.
I met earlier today with one of our BOB people that live next to our problem house, and tried to calm them down and let them know where the process we're in at so far, and that I do feel for them because it was happening today right there in front of me, so it's an issue. I can't wait for this short-term rental agreement to be on our laps here. I know they got a public hearing on it, I believe, next month. Planning does coming up, so.
I've
That's
been
all I got.
wondering.
I have one more thing. Jim and I attended a chamber meeting over at one of our local businesses, Advanced Hydraulics.
Aggressive.
Or Aggressive Hydraulics. What a phenomenal company and atmosphere that they have here in our city. From what they do to their culture to what they're trying to bring to this city and push forward. I wish we had all our businesses like that. They set the bar and they set it high, so thank you for them. They've been a great blessing for this city.
Okay, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
make motion adjourn.
Second?
Have a motion and a second, all in favor?
Aye.
Meeting's closed.